women's dressing, or men's inability to control urges? Who is more to be blamed? Is it the fact that a woman dresses indecently, or the aspect of men's inability to be able to control their urge for sex, their urge to sleep with a woman? And what are some of the things we can consider for a man to rape a 5-year-old, for a man to rape a 7-year-old, for a man to rape a 12-year-old? Feel free to share with us. You can call or you can send us a text message on the numbers on your screen: 670-74-3034, 670-74-3034. And we are going to read it out in the studio or pick your calls and get what you have to say about this topic today. Of course, on today's edition, we are going to have 2 people who will call to share with us their point of view, what they think about the topic of today. But before we get on to calling them, I want us to have a report on what happened to a 13-year-old lady. After rape, she was killed. But before the report, we are talking about who is more to be blamed for rape: women's dressing or men's inability to control their urge. Who can we blame in this aspect? This debate has been on and on and on. Gender-based activists has been talking about it, TV stations, radio. And there was a time in Cameroon where the rape cases became so rampant, especially in the capital of Cameroon, Yaoundé. A lot of cases came up. Rape here, rape here. We even got to see a man who raped a 3-month-old baby in Nigeria. It's something that we should talk about. And most cases, or most times, they turn out to blame the ladies. Questions like, what was she doing there? The last case we have of 8 years, I think it's 7 or 8, that was raped. The question one person raised was, what was she doing there at that time of the night? Why was she wearing this dress? Why was she dressing indecently? This is a time for you to share with us your point of view on screen today, just on Royal TV. Tell us what you think about the topic. Do you think that when a child or a girl dresses with mini skirts or short skirts, or indecently with shining laps walking through the streets of their city, can provoke a man to just pick up that lady or that child and rape? Is that a justification for rape? Or do you just want to say ladies should dress decently? We are going to be picking calls, but for now, let's get on that report, David Titango, about the 13-year-old lady which was raped and killed.
The country hasn't even had time to dry its tears from little Joyce Nawal before barbarity strikes again. This time in Bagante, in the Noon division of Cameroon. The trauma is immediate. The anger is enormous. The fate of a 13-year-old schoolgirl has been plunged into terror in the Noon division of the West region. On her way to school, she crossed paths with a predator who stabbed and then raped the teenager to near death.
Il m'a tapé jusqu'à, il m'a arrêté le cou, il m'a tapé jusqu'à, après qu'il est couru, il m'a arrêté encore, il est tombé, il m'a arrêté, il est couru encore, il m'a arrêté, il est couru, il m'a tapé.
In her school uniform, the marks of the attack were unbearable, with traces of mud that tells the story of the violent struggle against her attacker, who is about 40 years old. The victim was taken to a local medical facility for emergency care, where she survived the injuries but was left with psychological trauma to battle with. After several investigations conducted by security forces in Bagante, the perpetrator was arrested and brought before the public prosecutor. The alleged suspect has been placed in pre-trial detention in Bagante's main prison. According to authorities in Bagante, there has been rising cases of insecurity in the town of Mde, which poses serious threats to the population. With these tragic happenings, the population of Bagante have raised their voices and are calling on authorities that be to see into it that adequate security measures are instituted on pathways to schools to protect children and other joints so as to eradicate these hideous happenings from their neighborhoods. The country hasn't even had time to dry its tears from little Joyce Nawal before barbarity strikes again. This time in Bagante, in the Nun division of Cameroon, the trauma is immediate, the anger is enormous, the fate of a 13-year-old schoolgirl has been plunged into terror in the Nun division of the West region. On her way to school, she crossed paths with a predator who stabbed and then raped the teenager to near death.
Enga on it enga veni marite emarite imatape ima viole ira prile ka ima mi dama bush le sankulisira imatape jusqu'à imarite leko imatape jusqu'à après que ye courir imarite encore est tombé imarite ye courir encore imarite ye courir imatape.
In her school uniform, the marks of the attack were unbearable, with traces of mud that tells the story of the violent struggle against her attacker, who is about 40 years old. The victim was taken to a local medical facility for emergency care where she survived the injuries but was left with psychological trauma to battle with. After several investigations conducted by security forces in Bagante, the perpetrator was arrested and brought before the public prosecutor. The alleged suspect has been placed in pre-trial detention in Bagante's main prison. According to authorities in Bagante, there has been rising cases of insecurity in the town of Mde, which poses serious threats to the population. With these tragic happenings, the population of Bagante have raised their voices and are calling on authorities that be to see into it that adequate security measures are instituted on pathways to schools to protect children and other joints so as to eradicate these hideous happenings from their neighborhoods.
We really have not recovered from what happened with the little girl and now another one, and that's the person that was caught. What do we say? What can we say about issues like this that happens in the country? Will you blame it on indecent dressing, or will you blame it on a man not being able to control his urge? Because in this case, these ladies, they were Muslim ladies. They covered themselves from head to toe, covered very well. But one of the victims explained how he was touching me here, he was doing this, he was... God help us. Would you say in this case it's the case of indecent dressing? Because they did not have anything you could blame on, like they were wearing short skirts that could expose their labs or their thighs. They were wearing dresses that could expose their breasts. They were just children, and this happened. What will you say about it? The number or the line is still open for you to share with us your contribution about the topics on the screen. 670-74-30-34, 670-74-30-34. That's a report that explains a whole lot about that. We have school children in school uniforms. You know, these are some of the reasons why some schools had to implement long skirts instead of the knee-level skirts. An example is GHS Boyatown. They had to change their uniform into long skirts so that someone will not have a reason to say, I saw something short, her labs was not, I could see her thighs, I could not resist. You know, those are some of the things we say. She came to my house, she was wearing something short, I could not hold myself, her breasts were all out, or her everything was out, so I could not control myself. We want to avoid that, and that's why schools today implement different kinds of uniforms to be able to reduce the cases of rape and reduce the cases of people blaming others for their actions. It's important that you take responsibilities for your action, and if you don't want to tell us on call, you can send us a text message. If you want to share with us your experience, share with us something deep. Maybe it happened to you. There is no need for you to tell us your name. You can just share with us, and it can be a source of encouragement to somebody. Remember, it's a therapy o'clock where we get to give therapy at the comfort of your screen. Would you say men cannot control their urge? Would you say, in case of biology, a man, when his penis erect, he cannot, there's no way out, he must release? Would you give that question? He must do something to be able to free himself, or else he cannot sleep. I think I watched something like that. One man said whenever he gets that erection, he cannot help himself. If he does not see where to release himself, he has to masturbate. Let's put all of these realities on deck. Remember, your opinion counts. And whatever you say is your opinion. It will be accepted, and we are going to read it loud here in the studio. We've had cases of different rape. The one who happened in Yaoundé. Sometimes I really don't like to watch those videos, because it's demoralizing. Like, it can break you to an extent where you feel like, what will a man see in? I gave an example of the 3-month-old baby that was raped in Nigeria. Like, the child, he took his phone, placed his phone, and then recorded the scene. Would you say in that case it was indecent dressing? A baby with diapers. How can a baby with diapers seduce you? A baby that is just born, raping that child to death, just to be able to free yourself. Just to be able to. The video was really a disaster. It was circulating all over the media, and each time I came across it, I would feel bad to an extent I cannot even hold myself. Because we blame it on indecent dressing. Is it the case? Would you say rape is this case? Or would you just say, though to an extent, indecent dressing too can happen? Because sometimes some young girls just dress really, really absurd. I'll give an example. Yesterday, we had an errand to run in the office, and I went out with one of my colleagues to get some of those things that they could carry and put in the car. Then we come back to the office, and we met a young lady. She was, I could say that shawl, I cannot call it shawl, that pant. There's no way I can call it shawl. Inside the market. Like, she passed everybody. Like, you know when it's not the African standards, and aside from that, you're showing everything. She passed, and all eyes were like, my God. Like, we were just looking at her, because I could not say that dress was a shawl, or maybe something you could even say no short. It was literally a pant, and one top exposing her breasts, walking in the market. Imagine you pass by one quarter and one man sees you in that dressing attire, holds you there. You go talk with him and rapes you. You start shouting, oh, they raped me. What were you wearing at that time? Though we are saying that there are cases where the girls were raped while they were dressed indecently, it's a vice versa topic. It's both vice versa. It's still possible for a man to rape you even if you're wearing kaba and you're covering from your head to toe. And it's still possible for you to seduce a man with your dressing. So it's good we are on the safe side. If you ask me, that's what I think personally. It's good we are on the safe side. It's vice versa. Both decent dressing, both indecent dressing can cause a man to rape. But let's just be on the safe side as ladies. Don't dress exposing your cleavages. What are you showing the world to see? Just dress decently. Avoid questions like, what were you doing there at that time of the night? Why was she dressed indecently? People should look for reasons, and they cannot see the reasons. We are not praying for it to happen to you, but just avoid it. I remember one time when I was in the university, a lady, a young girl, she wore strings and this swimming pool, half court, I don't know how it's called, the net, the one they need. She wore it around UB Junction. We know how UB Junction is. It's busy. And she was walking on heels. Like on heels. She came, stood by the roadside to take a taxi. Nobody kept her. Nobody could even stand to carry her. I love what some mothers did. Some mothers just came from nowhere. I don't even know where they came from. I don't know if she's related to the woman. We were just watching it like this is a movie. And immediately they took the loin, took a loin and covered her. She kept on talking. Boys just carried her. Like they just carried her from that place. And they were just going with her after giving her the loin to tie. Why will you wear strings? Strings, oh. The strings, you know. A lady will wear on heels. Is it signs of madness or is it a mental state that needs to be treated? Some of these young girls, though we are saying that indecent dressing is not the cause, sometimes we are the cause of the problems we bring on ourselves. We are literally the cause of it. But still yet is not a justification for a man to rape a woman. That's no justification. We are not supporting it because we have cases. We just saw a case of a Muslim girl. Muslims covered themselves. Even in the video, we could not even see her face. Like she was well covered. But still yet rape happened. So is it the aspect of that girl not dressing decently? I even gave an example of a 3-month-old. Would you say a 3-month-old seduce you? So is it the aspect of a woman not dressing decently, or it's the aspect of a man not being able to control his or her urge? Like you cannot put that thing like that inside your casa. It's a food for thought, which we want you to be part of it and take part in the program today. The question is, who is more to be blamed for rape? Women's dressing or men's inability to control urges? Who do you think is more to be blamed? Feel free to send us a text message on the numbers on your screen: 670 7430 34, 670 7430 34. Right now we are going to get on to another report. This is the aspect of people fighting against rape. They came out in their numbers, they say no to rape, and they were saying no, declaring no to rape, no to rape, moved up to the governor's office. They are not just people, they are youths under the parliamentarians, and they are saying no to rape, saying no to rape. Let's watch this video. David Titango, take us to that aspect where we get to see not just youth, but different NGOs, non-governmental organizations moving out on the street and saying no to rape.
The awareness walk held recently started from Minjek and ended at the governor's office in Boya. Participants marched through the streets carrying placards bearing messages such as "Speak up for the kids," "Our children deserve safety," "Youth for safe kids," and "Their bodies, our boundaries," and more. The activity sought to draw public attention to growing need to protect children from all forms of sexual abuse and exploitation. The delegation was received at the governor's office by Mukete Elizabeth, representing the governor of the Southwest region, alongside the regional delegate of Youth Affairs and Civic Education and other stakeholders. Speaking during the gathering, she commended the initiative and reiterated government's commitment to promoting the rights and welfare of children.
Glad that not just women are the front, we also have youth, male that have accompanied them. It shows that it is a topical issue that has been disturbing the peace of our country. So this moment, I want to encourage you all to keep on with this fight. We all have been seeing and hearing all what is going on in our country, how babies, children, teenagers have been going through trauma because of sexual assaults. And it is a common fight for all of us, not just the youth. So the government is doing all its best to make sure the perpetrators are brought to justice.
Speaking to the press, the regional coordinator of the National Network for Youth Parliamentarians in the Southwest region, Eliva Enanga Musango, emphasized the importance of collective action in safeguarding children and encouraging victims and witnesses to speak out against abuse.
The reason for doing this is because a lot of youth have been complaining, and a lot of youth are really disturbed due to the rampant activities surrounding sexual assault. Mothers are crying, they are really being disturbed. If their children are going to school, they don't even have the peace. So the question is, what more of us youths who are still to give birth? Are we going to give birth to our children in such a generation that is very, very devious, in such an era where you are not even sitting consciously or comfortably in your house and you have to think of your child in school who is probably going to be harmed? So we are doing this work, or we did this work today, to sensitize the community on the dangers of sexual assault, to let them know that we are the protectors of our children. We don't need to harm them.
The coordinator called on parents, teachers, community leaders, and public authorities to work together in creating a safer environment where children can thrive without fear of abuse or exploitation. The initiative was organized in partnership with the Islamic Charity Foundation for Education and Social Welfare, which joined the campaign to amplify messages of child protection and social responsibility. Representatives of the foundation stressed the need for continuous sensitization and community involvement in preventing sexual violence against children.
I've noticed that in our community, we have a lot of children being assaulted or insulted due to one or two reasons, and they cannot speak up because they are still children. People constantly cover this up until the days that it has finally come outside, and we, the youth, stand to say no to sexual assault, because these children deserve a bright future. They deserve safety. They deserve to grow up as children with a healthy childhood, not being assaulted or violated by adults who are meant to protect them. So we stand here today as a foundation to say no to sexual assault.
Organizers say the awareness walk is part of broader efforts to strengthen child protection advocacy in the Southwest region and encourage communities to break the silence surrounding sexual violence. They maintained that protecting children is a collective responsibility and that every child deserves to grow up in a safe, secure, and nurturing environment.
You're welcome back from that break. Of course, we are talking about who is more to be blamed for rape, women's dressing, or men's inability to control urges. And right now, we have a guest which will be talking to us live on Royal TV through call, and a picture will be displayed on the screen. Her name is Baliki Marie Eta. She's currently the chief coordinator of Live TV and also a journalist. She's joining us, or she's already with us even. Good afternoon to you, ma.
Good afternoon. Thank you so very much for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure having you on set today.
Pleasure is mine.
All right, we're talking about who is more to be blamed for rape, women's dressing, or men's inability to control themselves. And my question, or the first question I have for you is, why do we have cases immediately after a case of rape, we get things like, what was she doing there? Why is she dressed indecently? Why would she wear such things to go to a man's house? Why do we get all of those reflects when a rape happens?
You know, this is a very important topic that we should throw more light on. And I believe that one of the reasons why people make such statements is because they themselves are ignorant on what people should be doing as far as their time is concerned. Because you cannot blame somebody for going to where they were going to. They definitely have a purpose. They have something to do with where they are going to. And so where a person is when the action happened is not really the matter of concern here. We should be looking at how the action happened, what actually made the action to happen. So it's not really about why the person went there. The person could have gone to visit a friend. We've had instances like that where people just go innocently to check on you, and then such a thing happens. So are you going to blame them for going to show a certain degree of genuine concern? No. So that is actually not the focus. There's something bigger than why people were where they were when the incident happened. And I think that the society should leave from questioning such irrelevant things to what truly matters.
We should leave irrelevant things and move to what really matters. So about the topic of today, do you think that indecent dressing, it's a cause of rape, or men can really not control themselves?
You know, this is a very beautiful angle. I must commend you on that. Before a lot of incidents happen as far as rape is concerned, I used to blame the female gender. I used to blame my gender. I used to think that the dressing contributed to the rising rate of rape. And truly, in many instances, or in some cases, dressing does have a contributing factor. But then that's not really it, because if we want to talk about the dressing, we've had instances of minors who have been raped. We know about the situations that have happened in Cameroon just this year, and I really do not want to go into. I don't want to name the children, the names of the children, because I don't want to remind parents of the trauma they've had to deal with. We've had children as young as 2 months old raped. And what is so traumatizing and depressing is the fact that these perpetrators are so bold to record the entire action and put it up. Yes. So you cannot say that it is the dressing of the person. The dressing is a contributing factor, because women sometimes dress up and they all look sexy, and it is obviously attractive to people. But then, to another extent, it's the men, because a man who is self-controlled would see whatever it is that is available to see and still move on. I think that people lack a sense of personal dignity. Yes. Even the word of God says that do unto love your neighbor as you love yourself. If you do not love yourself, then you cannot even think that the action you're about to do to another person will hurt them. So we lack that sense of communalism with each other, and dressing really has nothing to do with it. We should start questioning the men as well. What is it about them that makes them weak to the extent where they actually see somebody and think of doing this thing, and then they get to the point of actually establishing this thought, because it all starts from a thought. So it's not just an instantaneous thing. I don't think that is an instantaneous thing. Such a person has probably thought about having such an encounter in their life, and then they just find an opportunity, and boom, before you know it, we are crying. Before you know it, there are headlines. Before you know it, a family is mourning the loss of a child or of a daughter. Before you know it, a lot is happening. So it's really not the dressing. We should question the men more, because if it's about the dressing, tell me what is sexually appealing in a 2-month-old? What is sexually appealing? What is sexually appealing in having a romantic relationship with your sister? What is there? Because there is already that bloodline that makes you uncomfortable with seeing the nakedness of your relatives. So how is it possible that men are still able to rape women who are their relatives? So it's more about the urge. Maybe we should have training sessions and seminars and sessions like this to educate men, because most of them probably grew up in different kind of settings, and they are unable to control themselves because they do not understand what the sexual urge is all about, and they're just expressing themselves, and in the course of doing that, they're hurting more people. They're hurting women. We should look at it from that light. Dressing, to my opinion, or in my opinion, has nothing, absolutely nothing, no strength in this topic of rape, honestly.
While you're talking, we have one person that sent a question, or just sent a question to you directly. Let me just ask as she wrote it down. She said, if clothing cause assault, why do assault happen to women in uniforms, hijab, or even in school? Yes, that's the question. Then she goes further to say, is there a particular way for girls to dress to be able to avoid rape?
Okay, I really love this question, because it helps us to understand the topic, because we cannot just blame men. Both of us have to be accountable. The two genders have to be accountable. Before there is an action, or before there is a reaction, there's an action. There's something that causes something. So women already need to understand the society that they are in. Yes, to an extent, it bridges their free will or freedom of dressing or looking the way they want to look. But then there's truly a sense of dignity, which we should applaud to ourselves. Because appearing in a certain kind of way, whether or not we accept it, is going to cause us trouble. The woman is very beautiful, please. Have you seen a woman?
My God.
Yes, God took his time. God could not rest. He had to create a woman. That's how tempting the body of a woman can be. Yes, that's how tempting the body of a woman can be. So you come and meet a man who, even from the origin of things, needed a woman to help him, and you expose yourself to him. And what do you really are you expecting? So we should know the spaces that we go to and how we appear in those spaces. I think that if we look at it from that angle, we are going to also secure ourselves. Not because we cannot dress the way we want to dress, but because in the course of doing what we want to do, we bring problems to ourselves and the other people. Now, talking about the person's question about how that if dressing is really an issue, people dressed in uniforms and hijabs, truly that's a point where I can't really say that it's really about the dressing, because women in uniform, like a policewoman, already that uniform is a symbol of authority, right?
Yeah.
So for such a woman to still go through rape, it tells you just how spoiled I don't want to say the country, but how spoiled the mind of the person who did that thing is. The mind must be terrible for you to see a woman in uniform, to see a woman who probably possesses a gun, and you're still able to go there, and then you overpower that woman, and then you do trash to that woman. Your mind must be spoiled. Yes, your mind is terrible. Your mind is terrible.
So you're talking about mind. The mindset too has a whole lot to play in regards to those men who rape ladies.
Yes, because you see it. You see that it has happened. It has happened in your mind before it's even happening publicly. So what we are crying over is what you already saw possible in your mind. Okay, let's talk about thieves, yeah? If a thief wants to enter a house, irrespective of the security, that person will think of a way, and the person will enter there and come out, and you will not even know. That's how these people's minds operate. That is how it operates. So they think of the degree to which such a thing can be possible. Women who wear hijabs, so to some extent, it's like a sacred dress that they put on their bodies, tradition. So for you to look at a woman who wears that thing and you think of desecrating that body, tell me what kind of mind do you have? Your mind is spoiled. There is no light, there is no life in such a mind. Your mind is deteriorated, honestly. And so, which brings me back to the second part of the question, which was about how women can avoid these things. Now, in my house, personally, you wouldn't really find me covered in big cabas, long trousers, and socks or whatsoever, because this is my home. It's safe. So I can wake up in the morning and I wear my shorts. I wake up in the morning and I'm in inner wear because this is my house. But if I'm going out, I know that this is how the outside of my house is. And so I present myself in such a way that it doesn't cause another person to see me in the light where they will start thinking of having such an encounter with me. Not because I cannot go out in bomb shorts or whatever. I have a very good body, please. So I can go out looking the way I want to. But then honestly, but it does not represent me, right? It does not represent me. If I want to go out, I wouldn't want somebody to see me as a sexual property or tool. My neighbors know that they will never catch me wearing destroyed jeans, not because I cannot possess them, but then it does not represent me. So women should know what represents them, such that when they want to go out, they should truly go out in who they are. And if indecency is who you are, you should be ready to accept what comes with indecency. There's a quote I always use. I say that those who dine in darkness should be ready to receive the gifts that come from darkness. It's that simple. You cannot sow corn and you reap beans. So if you go out looking like that, there are vultures out there for people like you, and they're going to mess you up. So we can be accountable to an extent, and we can preserve or prevent these things from happening. And when we see that, even though we prevent these things in our dressing and attire or whatsoever, like the women in uniform and hijab, and these things still happen, then there is a really big mind problem that we have to address as far as the perpetrators are concerned.
All right, before you leave, you talked about self-control. Can you throw more light on it in regards to the men having self-control, being able to control themselves?
Okay, now I am no doctor, I am no health practitioner, but self-control, it's not just something that is simple. I always say sometimes that if I cannot afford something and comfortably take off my other responsibilities, then that thing becomes expensive for me. So I am controlling myself and preventing myself from getting to a state where life becomes a headache. Now, relating it to this topic, men should understand that self-control goes beyond looking at a woman and turning your face. Self-control judges right down to your intention for your fellow human being, which means it brings you to a place of self-awareness. You have to be self-aware to control your desires, because if you do not know what you want, how you want it, you would realize that you will be entering every single door because you do not have a sense of awareness. So you cannot control yourself. If I know that when I drink Gary, I'm going to sleep off at work, then I wouldn't drink it. So men need to understand that when we cry and talk about rape, we're not just crying because of one life. It's been a pattern. And so they should be able to hold themselves together, because you are hurting not just one life. You are hurting. The way I erupted when some certain incidents of rape happened, I've never met those people's families. But then it did something to me. So men should be able to hold themselves, talk to themselves, have rehearsal sessions if they have to understand that there are certain things that may feel right, but the impact, the effect, the negative effect goes beyond that few seconds of pleasure that they had. And if they have to have sex with a woman, there are many women out there who offer it for free.
A lot.
For few francs of CFA francs. There are many of them. So just walking there. Sometimes, all you need to do is just talk to a woman nicely, make her feel loved. And before you know it, we're good to go. So you don't really have to hurt somebody for you to have some few seconds of pleasure. Go and get married. Those are ways through which you can control yourself. Go and get married. Find somebody who offers that. And I'm not saying that thing is good, but we're looking at different measures through which we can really curb this rape thing. And men really have work to do. They should be taught from the time that they are young, from the time that they are children. Parenting has to come into play. So that when they are grown, even the word of God says, train up a child in the way he should grow. And when he is grown, he will not
depart from it.
So there's so many things that we should consider when we address sensitive topics like this. Honestly, it's, my goodness, I feel really terrible right now.
I used to ask myself a question, that what would cause a man to really look at a 4 years or a 3-month-old baby, then he actually erects.
Honestly, that is the part where I do not look at. I'm actually slapping my table right now. I don't understand it.
Maybe some men will come on set and tell us what actually brings the urge.
Yeah, I'm really interested. No, I want to hear it from a man, because I'm not a man. I do not have erection. I don't have something that stands up at odd hours. So a man should really tell us what it means to be a man who has a penis that works well. Because how do you see a child? No, not even a child. A new baby, and what are you looking at? My God, this is no, this is bad.
Thank you so much, Marietta. It's been a pleasure having you on set. Hopefully, we are going to have her physically to get to talk to us about different topic. It's been a good time. We'll talk to you later. Thank you. Have a blessed day. Ladies and gentlemen, we are still on the program. Our point of view in regards to the topic of today. Feel free to share with us. She has asked a question that she wants to hear from men. What will really cause a man to see a 3-month-old baby and erect? I want to also know. I ask myself those questions, but it's good we share those. Maybe there's something we don't understand about men. You get? Let's get on that ground so we get to understand each other. All right. We are going to get on a short breather. When we come back, we are going to have questions, read out questions. We already have a lot. And we are going to read out all of the questions and get counselor's tip for today.
Speak to the counselor with your girl, Lima Truth Mojoko. educative, informative, and inspiring. We ask questions, raise concern, and propose solution. Speak to the Counselor with your girl, Lima Truth Mojoko. Educative, informative, and inspiring. We ask questions, raise concern, and propose solution. Speak to the Counselor with your girl, Lima Truth Mojoko. Educative
and business areas, we move around town broadcasting your adverts loud and clear, creating massive visibility for your brand. And that's not all. Our advertising van also comes with strategic spaces for posters, banners, and flyers, turning every movement into a moving billboard for your business. Need more impact? Our energetic promotional team is ready to distribute flyers hand to hand across town, helping your brand connect directly with the public. We offer free business consultancy, audio and video spot production, graphic designs of all types. Whether you're promoting a new product, announcing an event, running a campaign, or growing your business, Royal Advertising Agency is your trusted partner for effective outdoor publicity. Don't just advertise, dominate the streets with visibility. Call now 670-743-034. Royal Advertising Agency, taking your business everywhere.
Welcome back from that break. A lot we had to say and a lot Marietta had to tell us. I hope we've learned, and we are still receiving contribution. We have a few minutes to concluding the program. We have a few. This person is saying rape is never caused or justified by a woman's clothing. The responsibility lies with the person who's choosing to violate another person's consent, or without, another person's consent. While clothing may influence attraction, attraction is not concern, and sexual urge do not remove person's ability or responsibility to exercise self-control. Saying that a woman's dressing provokes rape shifts blame from the perpetrator to a victim and reinforces harmful stereotypes. The better approach is to teach everyone, especially young people, that consent must be freely given. That no means no. She repeats it, no. And that every individual has the responsibility to respect another person's boundary regardless of how they dress. This person is without a name, saying every individual has to respect boundaries without restrictions, without anything. Like, you should not have a reason to be able to you should not have a reason to rape somebody. Another person is saying, good afternoon, Miss Truth. I am writing for Moliko. I think men's inability to control their urge is the leading cause of rape, because what will attract a man in a child? Every day we hear of men raping children. Are these children dressing in seductive ways? Let me ask us. Obviously no. So if men cannot control themselves, I believe rape costs will reduce. She says if men can control themselves, I believe rape costs will reduce. That's her take. She believes that if a man can be able to control his urges, rape cases are definitely going to reduce in Cameroon. We have a few minutes to go. This person is saying, good afternoon, Miss Truth. I am Sandrine from Boya Town. Concerning this topic, madam, I want to say the truth. Some of these girls dress anyhow. And then when something happens, they can start crying, rape, rapo, rapo. If you cover your body well, no man will look at you twice. We need to teach our girls decency. That's her take. That's what Sandrine is telling us from Boyatown. I love the fact that she had to specify that when it happens, you start crying. Rapo, rapo, rapo. But it's important that we teach ourselves decency. This other person is saying, good afternoon, Miss Truth. I am Franklin from Moliko. I don't agree with people blaming women's dressing. My mom always dressed simple, my sisters too, and it did not stop bad things from happening to women in the country. The problem is not clothes. The problem is men who feel they can do whatever they want and get away with it. Men who feel they can do whatever they want and then get away with it. This other person is saying, good afternoon, Miss Truth. This is actual calling from Grace or texting from Grace Support. I think both sides are taking or are talking past each other. I believe, yes, I believe in decent dressing, but decency will not stop or determine criminal. My question is, why are we spending so much time on skirt trousers instead of asking why? I'll not finish this one, I beg. Brother, you will not come and put me in trouble on set. We will not ask it. We will not finish this statement. We are taking up the next question or the next contribution. Good afternoon, Miss Truth. This is Pa Etonde from Bunduma. In our tradition, both the man and the woman have responsibilities. The woman has to carry herself with respect, and the man to control himself as a man of dignity. Blaming one side will not solve this problem. We need to raise our children, both boys and girls, properly. We need to raise our children, both boys and girls, properly. I have a certain contribution. I don't know how to read it. If possible, we might not read it, but still, let's conclude this program. We'll see if we have to read it, right? Just keep staying tuned to Royal TV. Maybe you might hear it in one of the programs just on Royal TV. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gradually drawing our curtains for today's program. But before you go, it's important that you get counselor's tip for today. Our relationship insights for today says, healthy relationships are built on respect and boundaries, not on control or not on silence. Make conflict in a relationship today, including the ones we've been discussing, come down to one root issue. One person believing their feelings or desire give them the right to override another person's choice. Real intimacy only exists when both people feel safe saying no. A whole lot you can get from that. Counselor Steve today says, if you are a parent, teach your child, both son and daughters, the same lessons. Your body is yours to protect, and other people's body are theirs to protect too. Don't just tell your daughters how to dress. Tell your sons how to respect. Protection should never fall or fail only on one gender. It should be both sides, my parents. As you're teaching your daughter how to dress well, teach the boy child how to respect another woman's body. How to respect a woman, even when you talk to a woman. It's very important. Quote of the week. Respect is not something you demand because of what someone is wearing. It is something you give because of who they are. Respect is not something you demand because of what someone is wearing. It is something you give because of who they are. We should practice respect this week until we meet again next week, 2 o'clock or 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. just on Royal TV. Of course, it's Speak to the Counselor, where we bring therapy at the comfort of your screen. I hope you enjoyed your time and you get to learn from our guest who called us on Saturday and said a lot about the topic. We still want to know what cause or what's the root cause of men having attraction or on children or little babies. If you've had that experience, you don't want to disclose yourself, send us a text message. We'll share it out. Maybe we can understand you, or maybe we cannot understand you. We still want to know though. We've come to the end of Speak to the Counselor on Royal TV. I've been your host, Lima Chud Mojoko. Catch ya next week. Of course, stay tuned on Royal TV.